What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday covering all the sports, whether it be news, games, highlights, all that fun stuff, tier lists, NHL, NBA, you name it. And in today's NBA episode, there's only one thing to talk about right now. We obviously have the draft coming up, but today we're going to be talking about free agency. No, I'm just kidding. Game 4, NBA Finals tonight. Nick, wearing the B, represent. You know he's from Boston. I am too, but not really a Celtics fan. But I may or may not be, at TD Garden tonight watching the game. We'll see. Apparently you have to get a ticket.
Yeah.
And my friend said his girlfriend might have an extra one, so I might be going. So possibility, watch party, TD Garden. If not, either way, we'll be watching the game somehow. A lot of people will. Nick is Boston might be getting ready to celebrate tonight and the parade. Celtics lead the series 3-0, 8:30 tip-off game 4 between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks, obviously. And, we talked about after game 3 yesterday, Nick, in our recap, but biggest difference in game 3, I think, for me was Jaylen Brown just getting Luka so frustrated, making him commit stupid offensive fouls, turnovers, even making him take some dumb shots and just making him work on defense because Luka's defense was ass. And he's been really bad on that end, and it's been tiring him out on the offensive end. And, it's a huge credit to what Boston did, but it's also like to Oklahoma City and Minnesota, why didn't you guys just attack Luka more? This was obvious. The announcers, I remember Reggie Miller on TNT calling it out. You got to make those superstars work that are so heavy on one end, and Luka is clearly out of shape. You can tell just from his body. He's not the most in shape person, despite how good he is. You got to make him work, and when he works. Or when he was on defense, he was committing stupid reach-in fouls. You get 1 or 2 offensive charges or hooks called. It was great. And, and when Luka fouled out, what did we say one of the biggest Dallas's advantages was, at least for me, was the clutch time offense because of the 2 guys. But when you take arguably the best clutch time player out, it goes to Boston's way. And they were able to close game 3. They had a huge block in game 2 to close that out. And game 1, they just kind of threw a punch. If it was my guess tonight, Kristaps doesn't play. There's no need to rush it back unless he's 100% to go, or maybe 90. But if he's even 70, wouldn't risk it. Just get him ready for game 5 if there were to be a game 5. But the way Boston's played, game 3, they didn't need him. Tonight, Dallas is obviously going to throw everything at them. It's just a pride thing. You never want to get swept, especially on the biggest stage, because that will lurk. If you're Dallas, you can say, yes, we had such a great season, made it to the NBA Finals, but you got swept. So how close really were you to winning the championship? And, if you get a different matchup next year and have to face the Nuggets, you may not be coming out. So, who knows? For me, though, it's just been a huge credit to what Boston's done all year. And I think regardless of the outcome, I'm calling it right now. I think there will be a parade celebrated tonight in Boston. I think Boston does close it out tonight. I picked the Mavericks in 7 at the beginning, mainly because I didn't know who would guard Luka. And, Luka's done his thing, but Kyrie didn't show up the first 2. Showed up last game, and that felt like a game that Dallas could have won. But Dallas's role players, like PJ Washington, Derek Jones, Derek Lively, just haven't translated their success from the Timberwolves in OKC series into this series, and now they're looking at a 3-0 hole that no team has ever come back from.
All right, man, you sound kind of devastated to say that.
Devastated because we might see 2 sweeps in the finals, and no one likes to see a sweep. Last year we saw a really ugly 5-game series. What happened to the Raptors Warriors? That was a tough 6-7 game series right down the wire just a couple of years ago. Or obviously the iconic Heat Spurs series, Cavs Warriors, that one time before KD joined them. Or even the 2020 Lakers Heat where it's Jimmy Butler grinding. Here we might just get the brooms out. It's embarrassing.
these are still grindy games. What was that series? The 2020 bubble series, was that 4-2 or
4-2? 4-2.
Okay. I for whatever reason, I remember that being like a 4-1 series, but COVID, I kind of blocked out in my head. But
that was a iconic Jimmy Butler Game 5 performance right there.
Yeah.
These are grinded out games, but I mean, at the end, if one team wins them all, like this reminds me a lot of the Dallas Timberwolves. The first 3 games were really close, but Dallas won all of them. So you're looking at a sweep. It's like at this point, like show me something. Like if you can't win one game, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't say the same thing because as a Celtics fan, I would definitely not mind a sweep. But I do know exactly what you're saying. Like any NBA fan, and honestly, probably anybody that works for the NBA doesn't want to see a sweep because less games
who's going to be
means less
officiating
money.
tonight?
What's up?
You know who's going to be officiating tonight? I've seen it on Twitter. It's kind of funny. I don't know who's officiating, but it'd be so funny if Scott Foster gets the call tonight because his official name as a referee is known as the Extender. He loves extending these series. So if Scott Foster's tonight, don't be surprised if Luke is getting a great whistle. I'll be excited to see. But yeah, Scott Foster even had his own highlight tape of him, blowing the whistle. So that's awesome if he does ref tonight because the Extender will guarantee a Game 5.
Maybe we can get Scott Foster on the podcast and kind of ask him, what goes into like his daily routine of what does he think of when he's like thinking, oh, okay, it's on me tonight. These fans, 20,000, however many are in the arena, they paid to see me tonight. So how am I going to blow this whistle? How am I going to extend this game so that these people can see me longer? So we should try and get him on here and ask him. That'd be a good question. I can't give my predictions. I haven't really given much predictions. I would love to see the Celtics win. I will say, I know you don't think Porzingis is going to play, but I'm still going to stick with what I said in Game 3, and that he wants to play and he wants to be a part of winning this series for the team. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went out there and played, 15 minutes and, gave it all he had. I don't know if there's both sides to it where at the same time, if he doesn't play, I would totally understand being up 3-0. Like there's literally no need to play him. There's no need to risk his ankle anymore. But I do know he said he's going to play again in this series. He wants to play. He wants to literally die on the court, apparently. So hopefully that doesn't
let me ask you this.
What's up?
It could come back to bite them in the ass because if he plays tonight and he's not close to 90%, and given his injury history, I don't obviously know what's to happen, but say the injury gets worse and now he's out for the season, or he's out for the rest of the season, the series. And then Dallas takes this one, and then they start. I think Game 3 was Derek Lively's best game of the pick and roll. That's no coincidence that it was Al Horford and Xavier Tillman on the floor instead of Kristaps. So then you abuse that. Dallas is able to use that more. And then who knows from there? 3-1 without Kristaps. Dallas can use that pick and roll way more. Reliable offense that they didn't use in the first 2 games. It could just get ugly from there, and then you don't know what happens. So for me, he just needs to be 90% for me. Even if he wants to die on the court, that's a great statement. But if you need him at the right time, because now is not the right time if he's fully because you don't want that injury to get worse. It just reminds me, different injury though I brought up before, the KD. That was a little different because they were down 3-1, rushed him back, and then he was out for the whole next season for the Nets. You never know what happens with these injuries. But either way, let alone a worse injury could just prevail him out for a couple weeks, which is the rest of the series. So it would just be, I just want them to be precautious of that. I don't want them, to say, let's go for the sweep now, get Kristaps, even though he's only 65% ready. I think that would just be a huge mistake that could come back to bite them in the ass. But we'll see.
I think the threshold would be way higher than 65%. I think if he's like 85%, then maybe Missoula would consider bringing him in off the bench for a few minutes. But if he's 65%, like there's no way. Because I feel like 65%, he might not even be able to run down the court. And I don't know. I can't even pronounce the injury he has, and I don't really know.
It's a very rare injury that's day to day, in the ankle, like you said.
I don't know the risks of the injury and like what further damage it could do if he played on it. But no, I agree.
It just blows my mind to see what some of these coaches have done, though, because once again, I know you're facing elimination. It was Game 3, Knicks Pacers this playoffs. Did you remember OG Anunoby on the court? The dude could barely walk. He was like just hobbling, had like a huge brace on his hamstring. It's like, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
He only ended up playing like 3 minutes. I was like, dude, that like Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks medical staff, whoever told him that he was ready to play, you guys are just idiots. So don't know what that was, but you always want to be cautious. But yeah, no, should be exciting game no matter what, though. Obviously, Celtics fans are ready to celebrate. They have the champagne bottles ready. Will Dallas, though, at least live another 2 days? I believe Game 5 would be Sunday or Monday, one of those days. We'll obviously be here, though, to recap no matter what happens. Game 4, whether we do have a parade, and boy, if the Celtics end this series in a sweep, that would be a 16-2 postseason run of just dominance, a 64 regular season win team. We're going to have to put them up there for one of the, maybe top 10 greatest, runs or just teams of, the last like 30 years, just how dominant they've been. But should be exciting, Nick. I know even 3-0.
Got to finish the job to be considered up there.
Yeah.
Got to earn
it.
it.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I'm excited to see what Jason Tatum does tonight, how many step back threes he takes.
Over under 8.5.
Yep.
Over under 8.5. What are you taking?
I saw it. Even last game started off great, then efficiency dropped, and no wonder why, because he shot 13 threes on 26 shots. I don't know. But Jaylen Brown been balling the series, probably on his way to finals MVP with the defense he's played, his scoring efficiency. Derek White in the fourth quarter last game showed up huge. We'll see what Sam Howard does. But for the Mavericks, role players, how do they answer the call? Does Kyrie have back-to-back solid games? How does Luka bounce back from an ugly Game 3? Just, efficiency-wise from 3 and fouling out. Derek Lively, PJ Washington, the role players, Josh Green, Derek Jones, what do they do tonight? Do you have any sort of desperation? Can you at least go out with one good game? Because I remember I was harping on Karl Anthony Towns for 3 awful games. Game 4, he showed up, carried us to at least 1 win. So just tip your cap to at least 1 win this series and be known as a respectable team, because, no one will talk about you losing in 5 or 6 games, but people will talk if you got swept like this. So the pressure's on Dallas this game.
Yep.
With that being said, I know, Nick, even up 3-0, you're probably still going to get those jitters once the game starts. So should be exciting. You want to finish the job tonight, and we'll be here to obviously recap it. If you haven't already, make sure to go back to check our Game 3 ending. That was an awesome live stream. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.